Holy moly, rock and rolly. This is our very last episode of season 1 of Cocktails for the People. Are you ready for the last intro? Hello and welcome to Cocktails for the People. My name is Will Petre and I hope you're thirsty because today we're going to be revisiting the past to look to the future with the Espresso Martini. How funny is it that we are ending the season with the Espresso Martini? Now I have to admit, when I was first introduced to this cocktail in the early aughts, I thought it was all a little bit silly. Vodka and espresso, hot and cold, up and down. This was a few years before I was introduced to vodka and Red Bull when I realized that up and down is precisely the thing for some. Originating in the Soho district of London, the story goes that an up-and-coming supermodel walked up to the bartender and asked for a drink that will wake me up and f me up at the same time. And she got a cocktail that does exactly that. Espresso is the wake-me-up ingredient of this cocktail, and by leaning into coffee's African origins, I'm gonna make a small twist on the Espresso Martini to throw focus on the continent where everything began. For the Espresso Martini, you will need vodka, espresso, Amarula, and sugar. Vodka, a diminutive of the Slavic voda, or water. This little water is one of the most popular spirits in the world and a major driving force for that mid-90s teeny craze. Do you remember that? Apple teenies, French martinis. It seemed like any sweet drink made with vodka and served in that triangle martini glass got a teeny attached to the end of it. As a rule, vodka must be odorless, colorless, and tasteless, although the base ingredient will definitely impart a mouthfeel and a certain uniqueness. For our purposes here, vodka provides alcohol, structure, a backbone. You can think of it as a girder for the other ingredients to swing on. Espresso. Espresso is a longer roast of the coffee bean. The coffee plant grew wild in Ethiopia for a very long time before being cultivated on a major scale. By the 1500s, coffee had spread throughout the Arabian world, and by the mid-1600s, coffee houses began to pop up in Europe. It is speculated that coffee was a major driving force for the European Age of Enlightenment and later the Industrial Revolution, as prior to coffee's arrival in Europe, alcohol was the morning, noon, and night drink for most Europeans because it was safer to drink than water. And as you can imagine, day drinking all day, every day does not lead to the most enlightened of conversations. Amarula. Amarula is a South African cream liqueur made from the fermented fruit of the marula tree. Marula trees only grow in the sub-equatorial plains of Africa. Classic espresso martinis are often made with an espresso liqueur, but if you are like me and you take your coffee with milk, this is such an interesting and unique product, it's definitely a bottle worth searching for. And sugar. There's a lot that can be said about sugar, but the only thing I want to say is this. Put a little sugar in my bowl. It's a 1967 Nina Simone song that is just perfect to listen to while sipping this cocktail. Just trust me. Your tools. You will need a cocktail shaker or mixing tins with a strainer, a jigger, a bar spoon, and an espresso machine. The Espresso Martini will be served in a classic 1990s triangle martini glass. I have a feeling these things are going to come back into vogue. And as always, we're going to fill the glass with ice so it is nice and chilly before we pour the cocktail in. You at home may have a metal mixing tin. I'm going to use a standard pint glass just so you can see what it is I'm doing. With your bar spoon, measure out 2 teaspoons of sugar. Cocktails 101, a bar spoon is a teaspoon. What? I know. With your espresso machine, pull a double shot of espresso. Now, I know that a lot of you at home may not have an espresso machine. Even though it is best to use fresh espresso, it is not the end of the world if you go to your local coffee shop, ask for a couple shots, and keep it in the fridge. It's totally fine. Now today, we are very lucky because we have a guest barista who is incredibly talented and is going to be pulling our shots off camera. Thank you. So this is roughly 2 ounces. With your jigger, measure out 1 ounce of vodka and 1 ounce of Amarula. Fill your tin or glass with ice. Cover it up and shake. Dump the ice out of your glass and strain your cocktail on it. And then you garnish with 3 espresso beans for health, wealth, and happiness. And there you have it, the espresso martini. You know, in a moment like this, I am grateful for my mother for a piece of advice that she gave me. She said, if there's a food or a beverage that you really don't like and it's been more than a year since you've had it, try it again just to make sure that you still don't like it. Over the years, I have turned the corner with Brussels sprouts, ketchup, and espresso martinis. Thank you so much for tuning into Cocktails for the People. This is our very, very last episode. But if you want to keep the party going, give us a like, write down a comment, subscribe. We would love to see you next time. But thank you for being with us for this whole season. Cheers.